Welcome to CodeFlex. We will explore various approaches to read HTTP headers in Spring Boot REST controllers in this video. We can access HTTP headers using an annotation called request header provided by the Spring framework. Also, we can access HTTP headers in a total of 3 distinct ways using request header annotation. We can access a single header by its name. We can access all the headers if you don't know the header field names or want to get multiple headers at once and want to use them as a part of method signature. The third way is like you can access a header using an attribute. Okay, so let's get started. I will showcase you all the scenarios in this video. Let me switch to my Eclipse screen. So I am into my Eclipse IDE. So I have created a controller class and I have a path defined to this as headers. Let me write a method. Let me add an endpoint. Let me make it as a get mapping. Let me add a path to this. Let me mark this as single header. Let me write a request header annotation on a method parameter, say region. Okay, and let me return this. So here in this endpoint, we are going to read a header value based on the name. The name is region. Okay, so let me run this application. Okay, let me say local host 8080 slash, what is my headers slash single header slash single header. Yeah, let me add a header name region. I'll say it as Canada. I'll press on save. Okay, I'm getting back the region name. If I say US, I'll be getting it as US. So you can see here I'm reading a single header, okay, with the name region. I'm reading it and I'm sending it as part of response. You can also make your header as read it as in the form of numbers and boolean also. You can read your headers in any data type form that could be string, number or boolean value. Okay, next we will be reading all our headers, okay, using a multi-value map. Now I'm going to show how can we read all our headers using a map. So as they say, this is multi, okay, because we are reading all multi-header. The name I will use. Let me stop my server. Okay, so I will be reading all the headers. So let me map this. This string, okay, and this will be my map, header map. Yeah, I'll say for each, create a string buffer, string builder. string builder dot append my header name, that is key. Let me give a append colon append the, okay, here is my value. Okay, value for v. Okay, now we will be sending back the response. So let me read. So what I've done is, like, I am reading all the headers which are part of this request. I am building a string using a string builder, and I'm returning this as a so you can see here I am able to read all my headers here. But one drawback of this is, if I mention a region value which is having multiple values, okay, and if I click, I will be getting only one value for my header field. But my header is a multi-value, it's a multi-value key. So to overcome this, we need to use a multi-value map. So let me make this as v2. Okay. Okay. Now here we need to use this as a multi-value map. Now what happens is, like, for a given key, okay, which is having more than two values, more than one value, means, say, let us say it as holding multiple values, we should be able to read both the values, and we should be able to process it further. So in our case, here we are reading the map, okay, multi-value map, getting the key. Now here what I'll do is, I'll use a, okay, since k is a list, value is a list dot stream dot collect. I'll convert this to as a list to list. Okay, so what we are doing is, we are collecting the values for the region which are multiples, and we are creating a list, and we are sending it back as a response. So let me run this and show it to you. So previously you had seen, if we are reading multiple values using a map, we were getting only one value. Now if I use a multi-value map, you can see I'm able to read both the values now, US and Canada. Okay, you can see there are here also there are multiple values which are getting read. Okay, now we can also read all our headers using one more technique. Let me make this as v3. Here the data type will be HTTP headers. Okay, so this HTTP header is basically a predefined, has a predefined set of methods in it, which you can use. Like suppose if I want to get host, I can get the host, I can get the host name, port number, all and all. So I can get the information for the existing headers with some utility methods in it, and I can use this utility methods for different purposes. Okay, but this is similar to multi-value map. The only difference is like you will get a privilege to use some utility methods which are defined in this HTTP headers. Okay, so let me rerun this. You can see the same as multi-value map itself. Okay, now let me make this v3 and run this. So you can see here it's same as multi-value map. Okay, okay, now we have covered all the so far we have completed two techniques of reading request header. The first technique was reading it as a single header value if you by the name. The other second technique was reading all the headers. If you don't remember the header names, you can read, or you want to read multiple headers. Okay, for that purpose you can read all the values. Okay, and in this by reading all the headers, we have gone through three different techniques. One using a util map, one is the multi-value map, and the other one is HTTP headers. Now let us move on to reading headers using attribute. So in our previous let me switch back. Okay, when we are reading a single header, okay, and if we are passing a value, we are getting it back. What happens if we don't pass a value? Okay, so it should work, right? But it doesn't work. It throws an error. It says 400 bad request. Okay, to handle this, we should use we should be able to use attribute. Okay, so here we are seeing we are reading the header with just a name. Now we can use attributes which are defined in the request header, and we can overcome this problem. So let me show this to you. It is same as this. Okay, so just we will make this as a v2. Okay, and here you, instead of using, okay, on the passing a string, you can use an attribute called value. Okay, or you can use attribute called name. Any of this, okay, it will work. Name is an alias for value, value is an alias for name. Okay, so you can use either name or you can use a value. And what you can do is like you can make this by default, this is required true. Now I am making this as false. So when we request for this endpoint without passing any header, this won't throw any exception. So let me showcase this to you. Okay, our application is running. Let me call this endpoint. Okay, I'm not passing any header. I'm not getting any exception now. As you can see, well, let me pass that header information. I'm getting the information. If I don't pass, I'm not getting any exception. Okay, what if someone is reading this variable? Okay, what will happen? They will say region equals Canada, then, and they want to do something. This will throw a null pointer exception, right? If I don't pass this header value, definitely it will throw a null pointer exception. How can you handle this? You can handle it by adding a default value to this. Okay, you can assign a default value here. Okay, and do whatever you want to do here. Okay, so let me remove this. as you have seen here, I was not passing any header value, okay, but it was not throwing any 400 error, but at the same time it was not returning me anything because the region itself is null. Now we have placed a default value to region. Now let us see what will happen. So let me stop this and let me relaunch my application. So our application is launched. Now let me click on this. I'm not passing any header value. You can see my default value was CA, so CA got returned. So now if I give some value, if I pass some header value, region, say France, okay, if I say FR, you can see FR is getting returned. If I say US, I'm getting US. If I say UK, I'm getting UK. If I'm not passing anything, I'm getting CA. Okay, so we are at the end of our video now. Okay, we have shown you how can you read headers in 3 different forms and how can you handle 400 error, which is a bad request when you don't send the header information. You can make this as required as false and set a default value using an attribute, and also you can read all your header values using a map, multi-value map, or HTTP headers. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting. Thank you. Bye bye.